Sorry for the interruption. Yeah. So this is how you will go about trying to find out the site of the hemorrhage. Yeah. Now, once you have found out the site of the hemorrhage, you will have to control the hemorrhage, isn't it? So now this will depend upon various other factors. So if it is a situation where you have to do a surgery, like for example, I told you, you did a CT scan and you found out in a blunt injury of the abdomen, you found that there is hemoperitoneum. By doing a fast, you did a CT, you found out there is a grade 4 injury of the spleen, which means that there is active hemorrhage going on from the spleen. You have to you'll have to probably do a splenectomy. So for that, you have to take the patient to the theater. Now, if on investigation you found that this hemorrhage is because of a gastroesophageal variceal bleed, like I told you previously, history-wise itself, you suspected a esophageal variceal bleed. You did an endoscopy and you found out that there is an esophageal variceal bleed. Then the best thing is to shift the patient to the gastroenterology suite, and there they can do a endoscopic banding or sclerotherapy of the esophageal varices. Now, if you found that the bleeding is from, say, the liver, and it's only a grade 1 or 2 injury according to the CT scan, and you are able to, then in that case probably, and if the bleeding is still continuing, instead of doing a laparotomy, instead of opening the abdomen and trying to control the bleeding, you can probably send this patient to the radiologist. There they can do an arteriography and do an embolization. Coiling, as they call it nowadays, embolization of that vessel. So it can avoid a major surgery. See, all these are invasive procedures, but major surgery like doing a laparotomy is a very major surgery which are adding more trauma to the patient. You understand? So all those problems that we talked about can be exacerbated. Even these will increase the trauma element a little bit, but not as much as in a laparotomy. So like that. So you understand what I'm trying to say? So depending upon the site and the cause of the bleeding, you will distribute these patients, or you will send these patients to the respective departments for management. Yeah, I won't go into the details of each of these things, which is not easy. As you go through each system, or when you go to various departments, you'll understand the problems and the benefits of each of these things. Now I'm talking about surgery here. The other things I'll leave it to their respective experts to talk about. Yeah. So once we have a patient with major bleeding, who requires surgery, I told you if the patient is stable, you will take the patient to the theater and do whatever is necessary to control. For example, I'm telling you about a simple problem like a splenic rupture. Simple in the sense that, something that we can handle quite well. So patient has RTA, blunt injury, he's got lacerations, multiple lacerations which you have sutured. Patient is having a hemoperitoneum. You did a CT, you found out that it is a splenic rupture. You open the abdomen, you do a splenectomy, that will control the problem. That's the end of the problem. I mean, you have to resuscitate the patient and all that. This will go on simultaneously. Just doing the surgery is not enough. You have to bring the patient out of all these problems. That is the thing. Sometimes you have complicated problems. Like for example, you have a shattered liver. What I mean by a shattered liver is not just a single laceration. The liver has been broken up into multiple segments or multiple pieces. There, it is not easy to do any surgery to control the hemorrhage. Bleeding from all over the place, all over the liver, you understand? You cannot suture the liver together again. It's not possible. You will understand why that is not possible later on. And obviously, embolization is not going to work here because there are multiple sites of bleeding. So you can do you can remove the liver probably, but then the patient will not survive, isn't it? Unless you can do an immediate transplant. See, in the emergency situation, these things are not possible. So in an emergency, so here you do what is called, you do the minimum necessary to control the bleeding. I told you cannot suture the liver pieces together. So all that you can do is probably pack that area. You put mops to apply pressure and pack it so that the bleeding will stop. And then after a couple of days, after 1 or 2 days, once the patient's general condition has stabilized. I told you when the patient comes to you, he will be in shock. The BP will be low, pulse will be high, you have blood. So you will resuscitate the patient. So once you have controlled the bleeding by packing it, you will resuscitate the patient, and then once the patient is fairly stable, again, within 1 or 2 days, you will go back in and then try to see what definitive repair you can do. You understand? That is what we mean by damage control surgery. Now the same patient, along with this bleeding, the patient might be having a laceration of the mesentery along with a rupture of the small intestine. Blunt injury, this can happen, or the duodenum. So in that case, what you'll do is you'll control the bleeding and try to control the sepsis, because once there is perforation of the bowel, you get sepsis, isn't it? Yeah, so you'll control that. If it's a simple laceration, probably you can suture it, or if it's like that, you'll do whatever is necessary to control the sepsis, and then I'll control the bleeding also. Minimum required. That is what we mean by damage control surgery. And later on, definitive surgery you can do later on, within a day or two, once the patient is stable. Yeah, so this is what we mean by damage control surgery. Yeah, that is about hemorrhage very briefly. Yeah, I have not gone into each of these points in depth, because each of them will require at least 2 classes each. So you will learn about them as you go along. This gives you the general idea and the principles on which we manage a patient with hemorrhage. Thank you.